Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here with another Master Duel video for you all. So today I am bringing two things that I promised in the recent past in one video here. I promised an Adamancipator deck when we covered it for the Anti-Spell Festival, and I promised another grass deck when we covered the last grass deck, I believe yesterday in the order these videos are going to come out. With the Dragon Link 60 card build. So here we have both the Adamancipator grass deck in one, like I mentioned. Yeah, this is the main other grass deck I had from stuff in my collection that I wanted to try out. I don't think I'm going to be... Well, I think there is actually another potential grass deck I may play, but without crafting a whole bunch of Shadal stuff, I don't think there's too many other decks I'm super interested in that use grass, but still open to suggestions if anybody has any. I was thinking about trying maybe a 60 card like Branded Despia build, like even without Shadal stuff, just to see how it could work, but maybe not. In any case here, I'm definitely having enough fun as it is with not only 60 card Dragon Link, but Adamancipator here as well. I realized after playing this deck in the Anti-Spell Festival that it had been too long. It had definitely been too long since I played this deck. And I think, after Hulk got banned, well, I kind of, dropped, I don't want to say dropped the deck. I did drop it, though, as much as I hate to say it. I did kind of drop the deck, a good bit before Hulk came out. But then after Hulk got banned, I kind of let myself get in this mentality of like, oh, well, now Hulk is banned. What's the point? Is Adamancipator even good anymore? No, Adamancipator is still extremely good. What Hulk mainly let you do was go into the Union Carrier Buster Dragon combo more easily. It's definitely still doable, and actually I'm looking, I might even want to put that in this build. I'm kind of surprised it wasn't in here before. Although I guess to be fair with grass, you never know if you're going to mill the Dragon Buster or not. So yeah, grass obviously being the major addition to this deck. So as always, as ever, we gotta ask, like, what does the Grass Look Screener actually do for this deck? Like, what is the reason to play this deck at 60 cards with that Grass Look Screener? With Dragon Link, I think the answer is a little more obvious, it being a very graveyard-based deck, although Adamancipator, I think, has a decent reputation for being a graveyard-based deck, namely the Block Dragon, and this is actually the main reason you want to play Grass, is for specifically Block Dragon, not only setting one copy of it up in the graveyard, but also enough Earth monsters to banish it, or to banish for it to then summon. One of the other major things that we're hoping to send off grass is a Rock Band Whoa, excuse me, sorry about that. A Rock Band Xenoguitar. So, I've experimented with this card at like one copy in a 40 card build in the past, and I wasn't super duper thrilled by it. I thought it was okay. But Xenoguitar, as you can see, we're playing 3 of in this build. So, what changes? What makes this card meh at one copy in 40 cards, but a 3 of in a 60 card build? Mainly it's that Xenoguitar doesn't care how it's sent to the graveyard. It can add a rock monster back from the graveyard to hand. That's very, very good when you're looking at that Grass Look Screener, because very often with Adamancipator hands, if you don't already have a combo, you're usually either missing like one of the tuners, or maybe like one extender, like a Supplier, or like a Rocksies, or maybe even just like a Guardian to start you off with a rock monster that'll keep you safe. And that's what the Grass into Xenoguitar is for. Basically, the idea is that you can just add whatever missing piece you want from your graveyard back to your hand that you sent off of Grass Look Screener, and then you'll get some advantage there. I could also be playing a second Revival Golem. I kind of thought about it, as this is another, this is a free special summon off of grass, and it's not once per turn, so, oh no, I'm sorry, it is once per turn. I used to looking for it at the end, but sometimes at the beginning, so it is once per turn, but even still, I think playing a second Revival Golem to potentially get milled might be worthwhile. I decided not to, but, another card I thought about playing a second copy of is Gigantes. There has been one situation, maybe one or two, where, I mill it off of grass and then I try to go for it with Block Dragon and I realize I can't, and that like will kind of mess me up sometimes. It's not like cost me the game yet or anything, but I think having a second Gigantes in a 60 card grass build might not be a bad idea. As far as stuff we're playing, again, because it's specifically grass, we've got, like I said, the 3 Xenoguitars, of course, playing Fairy Tale Snow, which you'll play in just about any grass deck for just free summons and disruption off of grass there. We are playing the 3rd Rocksies. In the past, even before this card was semi-limited, rather, you'd only play 2 copies. Oh, no, I'm sorry, this is actually the deck where you would play 3. It was Prank-Kids where you'd play 2, but no, so definitely playing 3 Rocksies here now that it's back at 3. We're playing a couple of Miracle Rupture just for a little bit more consistency. because our deck is 60 cards. And then we are also playing 3 Forbidden Droplet as well to help going second. I like playing 3 Droplet in these 60 card grass bills just to have as a tool for going second in general. We're also playing a set of Small World here, which can grab a variety of things. But honestly, I haven't drawn or used this card in this deck yet, so I can't personally attest to exactly how useful it is. But I mean, it's not hard to see. You know, a lot of our monsters are Earth rocks, so it's you know, not difficult to then just match up accordingly from there. For Small World here, it ends up being a very good, essentially just a Rhoda for the deck. It's a Rhoda that requires you to have a monster in hand, but it usually just ends up being a straight up Rhoda regardless. Let's see, what else do we have going on here? I would have liked to include a little bit more disruption, maybe a couple of Veilers and a second Nibiru. But I wanted the droplets more than that. I think it was between the droplets and those, and I decided to go for the droplets here. I could see myself cutting Small Worlds, honestly, because again, I haven't used them at all yet, and I've been doing more than fine with this. I've actually even ranked up a little bit in Diamond with this deck, which I wasn't really expecting to do. I used this in a lower Diamond rank just so that I wouldn't have to worry about that, about losing too much rank from playing a deck I was a little bit less familiar with. Oh, sorry, I bumped the desk there, but no, I actually ended up gaining a rank off of it, so that was nice. Extra deck, I think I might want to change around a little bit. This Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, as weird as this might sound, might actually want to be a Salamangreat Almirage. You might be thinking like, well, those cards are so insanely different. Like, what does Almirage actually do for this deck that you want to over something like, you know, Goddess of the Closed World here? And what Almirage does is act as a potential extender. If I link a rock monster away to Almirage, then I have a chance to maybe special Supplier from my hand and potentially keep going with plays. I have a chance to potentially banish it for like a Gigantes or maybe even like a Block Dragon or something and potentially keep going. There have been a couple of scenarios, not only in playing with this deck on a regular ladder, but also playing the Anti-Spell Festival, where I remember thinking like, oh, if I had an Almirage, I could go and do some plays. Not like a whole lot of plays, but, you know, some amount of plays. So think about dropping, like I said, this Closed Goddess for an Almirage in the extra deck. Those of you who are more familiar with Adamancipators, feel free to let me know what your thoughts of the build are in the comments below. As always, ever, I am always grateful for that feedback. Same with the games that we're about to see up here. If you've got any feedback regarding those, definitely feel free to let me know in the comment section there. Okay, so I think that's about everything I wanted to cover with the actual build. Let's break it down card by card and then watch some gameplay. We're playing 1 PSY Frame Driver, 3 Maxx, 2 PSY Framegear Gamma, 3 Doki Doki, 1 Prank-Kids Dropsies, 3 Adamancipator Seeker, 3 Adamancipator Researcher, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 1 Gigantes, 3 Koa'ki Mirror Guardian, 1 Revival Golem, 2 Tackle Crusader, 1 Fairy Tale Snow, 3 Prank-Kids Rocksies, 2 Adamancipator Analyzer, 3 Koa'ki Mirror Supplier, 3 Rock Band Xenoguitar, 3 Block Dragon, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Foolish Barrel, 3 That Grass Looks Greener, 2 Miracle Rupture, 3 Small World, 2 Call by the Grave, 1 Crossout Designator, 3 Forbidden Droplet, and then 3 Infinite Impermanence to round out the main deck there. Extra deck is going to have 1 Herald of the Arc Light, 1 Adamancipator Risen Raptite, 1 Borreload Savage Dragon, 1 Adamancipator Risen Dragite, 1 Baronne de Fleur, 1 Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Cheng Ying, 1 Gallant Granite, 1 Prank-Kids Meow-Meow-Mu, 1 Prank-Kids Dodo-Doodle-Doo, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Asa the Earth Charmer Immovable, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, 1 Access Code Talker, and then finally 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Alright, so that's going to round out the deck list there. Now let's take a look at some gameplay. So the first game we're going to watch today is going to be against none other than Branded Despia. I like starting off these videos by showing off how the deck performs against some of the top decks of the format when possible. So we're even going second here against Branded Despia. And without any disruption in hand for that matter, we do have an Analyzer, so we do at the very least have that, you know, going second here. And if the Aliber for a branded loss is never a good sign, it usually means the opponent's got a lot of gas in the hand, or at the very least a branded fusion, which they do in fact have here. So fairly typical setup for the opponent here, going through Lubellion. Lubellion's effect, looks like they're discarding an Ecclesia to get back the Despian Tragedy there. And then, of course, they get to add a Fallen of Albaz card as well. The Ecclesia will also come back to the hand during the end phase because they performed a fusion summon. It's really easy to forget that effect of Ecclesia, but it's the very last one down here, yeah. During the end phase of fusion monsters into the graveyard, add this card from graveyard to hand. So, Ecclesia can actually be pretty decent in Branded Despia builds if you're just looking for another extender. I think my opponent's going for a more, like, quote-unquote pure build here, in that they're not using... I don't think anyway they're using Fright First stuff. I don't remember seeing it in the deck list. I could be wrong about that. And they're not using Adventure stuff either. They're kind of just using the Branded and Despia stuff here. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, they get the Ecclesia back to hand during the end phase. So that's a little bit of advantage, just generation / recursion. And also nice for getting a Fallen of Albaz out of the deck, which is definitely not awful. I'm just going to lead with the Grass's Greener here. It might get Ash Blossomed, but I've already got a lot of other, like, you know, just accelerants in hand, as well as the Call by the Grave. The Call by, though, I'm definitely saving for the Branded in red here. I'm absolutely saving the Call by for the Branded in red here. That's, again, why I led with that Grassless Greener, because it's very, very good Ash bait. And, you know, I call it Ash bait, but you still do want to Ash Blossom this if it ever gets activated against you. Literally any deck that's running 60 cards always wants to activate Grassless Screener, and it's always going to give them, like, it's always going to give them fuel. So you should pretty much always be ashing this card when possible. I just happen to, again, have a hand here where even if they did Ash Blossom it, I still have, again, just a lot of options for plays. So, but they didn't. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we milled. We did mill a Xenoguitar. That's pretty good. Seeing if we milled a Block Dragon, we did not. We did mill a Fairy Tale Snow, though. So we also milled a lot of our tuners. I've gotten a little bit unlucky in some of these duels where I ended up milling. There was one game where I milled, I think, almost all of my tuners, like all but one of them. But that's fine. We don't need that many in deck in order to make our plays here. And besides, we have the Xenoguitar, so I can use that in order to get back the Researcher here, and the opponent just concedes at that point. So, yeah, not as much of a back and forth game as I would have liked necessarily, but it was mainly the call by that really saved us there. Call buying the Branded in red. Although, really, given when my opponent activated it, I'm looking here. They activated it in response to the summon of. Let's see here. Go back to my opponent's turn. I think they activated it at a weird time. They did, yeah. They activated it in response to me activating that Grassless Screener. I don't really know why, unless they were going for like a... oh, they might have been going for a Winda or something. Maybe? I don't know. Well, they would have had to have a Shadal monster in hand. I guess I'm just wondering, okay, if they are going for Guardian Chimera, it doesn't do anything there. So clearly they were going for something else, but... so I don't know, maybe there's a chance that I didn't even need the call by there, just given the timing of when they activated it, but in any case, yeah, it's going to be enough for the win there, so I'm going to go ahead and pick out a little bit more of a back and forth game. Let's look at that one next. Alright, so this game is going to be against Witchcrafters. Actually, not a 60 card variant, just 40 card Witchcrafters, which I was a little bit surprised by. This game, from what I remember, did have a little bit more nuance to it. I had to play through a couple of back rows. Looks like we went second again, so we did open a grass again. The rest of our hand's not looking super great, although we did get a Forbidden Droplet as well, so if we are going second, we do at the very least have that, although... as soon as I see Extravagance, I realize, like, oh, Forbidden Droplet's probably not going to do too much here. So, Poe's only got one back row, so I'm thinking, like, oh, is it Eldritch that got really, really unlucky? Or, but no, it makes more sense when it's when you realize it's Witchcrafters here. So, this might actually not be the game I was thinking of where I thought I had to play through more back rows. Oh, here is, I had to play through a Maxx C, that's what it was. So, yeah, opponent's going to fire off the Maxx C here, but this is one of those games where, like, I'm definitely more committed to trying to play through it. Because again, I'm still thinking my opponent's an unlucky Eldritch player, and it's not super duper common. I don't know how common it is, but you know, it's easy for the opponent to have to, or rather, what am I trying to say? If it's Eldritch, it's easier for the opponent to not have Nibiru here. That's not always the case, but there are a decent amount of Eldritch decks that don't play Nibiru. That's why I was a little more comfortable playing through the Maxx C, although the opponent does flip up a summon limit, so I'm gonna have to stop there and just pass after I bring back their Maxx C with Asa the Earth Charmer. Well, after I attack with Asa the Earth Charmer and set this Forbidden Droplet, that is. So. Okay, they got another Extravagance. So at this point, I'm like, surely the opponent's able to do something at this point, right? And then they flip down a Reasoning. I should have called level 10. I called 8, thinking Eldritch was 8, but I should have called 10, is what I meant to call there. But here they finally reveal themselves as a Witchcrafter deck, bringing out the Madame Vare. And I'm a little bit scared here because my opponent does have a lot of cards in hand until I realize, like, oh, Droplet is actually just, you know, going to stop this Madame Vera entirely. I can stop her from chaining the effect, from being able to use her effect, and my opponent will even take a little bit more damage. I can even wheel the Researcher back to my hand, which is going to definitely be a huge help during the next turn for getting some more plays off. As far as the summon limit, I'm just going to go ahead and go into Nightmare Unicorn and get rid of it that way here. I've already got the materials on board, so I'll do it straight away as the first kind of like thing I do this turn, so I won't have to deal with it. I am still wary of that other back row there, so obviously I can discard that other grass. I don't need that. Put back the summon limit. Now I can summon the Block Dragon. I'll get Xenoguitar's effect as well. The opponent flips up Rivalry of the Warlords here, which does kind of hurt, I guess a little bit, but actually not that much. I'm definitely obviously fine with only having rock monsters on board. If we look at the extra deck, you'll see that there's not like, yeah, it's not exclusively rock monsters. So Rivalry does affect what I'm able to bring out, but I'm still able to bring out like a Dragite here, as well as a Gallant Granite and the Block Dragons. And I think between those, I should probably have enough, just enough options in general to go for lethal here. We whiff off the Researcher, but that's not important. Oh, also the opponent's only at 4,800. I just realized that. I thought they were still at 8,000, but no, with the opponent only being at 4,800 life points, then I can just special the Supplier. I still have an Excavate off the Raptite as well, and the opponent's going to concede there. So, yeah, so that game we had to play through a couple of floodgates. I mean, the opponent didn't have too much in response as well, and it made a lot of sense once I figured out they were Witchcrafters, because I was like, again, there's no way Eldritch does 2 Pot of Extravagances and has that few back row to set. Like, that never happens. So, yeah, there's that game there. Let's go and take a look at the next one. Alright, so this duel is going to be against Scareclaw, my first game against Scareclaws. I have seen some requests in the comments if I'll play like a Scareclaw deck. Don't have any plans to at this time. Not because I think the deck is like bad or anything, but just one, I'm not like the most interested in it, and two, it's got a lot of ultra rares in it. And it'd be a lot to craft just to like maybe do for like, I don't know, 1, maybe 2 videos. Because again, I just don't personally have too much of an interest in the archetype, so no plans for Scareclaws at this time. It's not to say it'll never ever happen, but no plans for it at this current timeline. So this time we're going first, and we opened grass. We opened grass a lot with this deck. With this particular deck, I've noticed. With Dragon Link, we didn't open it quite as often, but opponent's going to fire off a Lancia in response, which is a bit annoying. Obviously means we can't block Dragon, which is going to limit what we're able to do. But let's see what we milled off of that grass there. We did mill a Fairy Tail Snow that we can't use, a Block Dragon that we can't use. And that's just about it. So the grass did still set up some stuff in the graveyard. It did mill a Xenoguitar. So there was that we at least got to get the Xenoguitar effect off. And then of course we'll put back the PSY Frame Driver. Actually it's nice in that regard because yeah, now we can put the PSY Frame Driver on the bottom of the deck and still have it for later. Now that it probably won't come up, but it's still nice to have the option there. So I'll get a Guardian, sync for Raptite. I don't anticipate that I'm going to be able to do too much under this, what do you call it, this Lancia, that was the monster. But I'm still going to try, you know. If I can hit an Analyzer here, I know I'll definitely have plays. I did hit a Doki Doki, so that is going to lead to an Analyzer. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I've got some amount of plays here. Yeah, my plan right now is to potentially go for a Baronne here. Could also go for a Dragite. Well, I don't have a water monster in graveyard. Is the thing you need to have the Dropsies in graveyard in order to be able to get that off. I'm going to go for a Gallant Granite. Oh, that's right, because even though I can't get Block Dragon, I can still search for a Researcher, special that, and then further extend my plays there. So, like, yeah, it might, you know, it's easy to think, like, oh, you know, Lancia means no Block Dragon means no plays, but that's, like, a very, like, linear kind of form of thinking, and I try to avoid that when possible. Like, just because you get like, you know, well, words. I'm trying to say like too many words at once here. When you have a play, right, that revolves around a certain card, and you're cut off from that card, it's really easy to think, I can't make any plays because I don't have access to that card. But that's actually not what you want to be thinking there. Oh, also, the reason I ended on Meow-Meow-Mu is because I couldn't banish a card off Rocksies. I did forget that. I, you know, didn't realize that. I was like, oh yeah, Lancia means no Rocksies. Whoops. So, should have technically been able to go for an Appaloosa. I think in addition to the Baronne? Maybe not, actually, looking at how many resources I have. Well, no, because this would have been a Dodo-Doodle-Doo, so I was planning on going for an Appaloosa on top of Baron, but then, yeah, again, I was like, oops, Rocksies can't banish. But in any case, yeah. So just because we can't block Dragon doesn't mean we don't have options, is basically the gist of what I'm getting at here. Opponent's going to call by the block Dragon that we have engraved, and then, you know, Droplet, the call by. I'm actually going to let both these things resolve. The call by, I'm not really particularly scared of. The Droplet obviously doesn't really do me any good to negate that with the Baron, because then I have used the Baron's effect anyway. So, at this point, my opponent normal summons the Scarecrow Baronne, and I gotta be honest, even right now, I still don't know, like, everything about what Scarecrows do. I have, like, a general vague idea. I did look into them a little bit, because I know they can, obviously being a archetype with beasts and stuff, they can be used with Tri-Brigade, but, in any case here, yeah, I decided to go ahead and just use the Snow here to flip the Baronne face down. There's a little bit of a risk to that because I know, you know, Scareclaw has a decent amount of stuff involving defense mode monsters, but mainly I'm just trying to get a face-up Scareclaw monster off the board. By flipping it face down, I prevent them from going into, like, links with it, I prevent them from special summoning if they control a Scareclaw monster, all that fun stuff. So I'll just fire off the Fairy Tale Snow directly in response here. That'll also get me the Xenoguitar's effect to send a monster from deck to graveyard. I just ended up sending a Revival Golem and summoning it, which actually wasn't the smartest thing in the world because this puts a whole bunch of defense mode monsters on the board for their field spells effect, but it's like, yeah, you know what, it's fine. I'm not, like, super concerned about it. They can destroy my Baron, but yeah, they don't have any other plays after that because they only have 2 other cards, one of which is a Starfirst, and then, or is that what it's called? Is it Starforce or Frost? It is Frost. Okay, I thought it was Starforce for some reason. But, yeah, so they can't do anything with this Visas Starfrost, and then they only have one other card, which obviously wasn't live anymore, so yeah, they just have to pass it back to me. At this point, I can use Gallant Granite as other material to just add the Researcher, and then now that I special the Researcher and I get an Excavate, like, especially with everything I already have on board, like, there's no way I don't have lethal here. There's absolutely no way I don't have lethal. Like, even without the block Dragon, it's not a problem. Yeah, I can just go for the Nightmare Unicorn, I'll put back their monster, go for access code, and then, yeah, from there it'll be easy for me to find lethal. Well, because I think I can just, oh, I end up putting back the, or not putting it back. Well, I do actually end up putting back the Raptite, the level 6 Synchro. I believe with Xenoguitar's effect, which I banished off of Snow here, if I recall correctly. No, that was a different game, I'm sorry. But with Snow, I'm able to go for Xingying. That's how it was. I mean, Snow alone, I think, would have gotten me lethal anyway, but, actually, would it have? It's not important. We got lethal. That's the main point. that's the main point of the end there. But yeah, Xingying is nice. I've actually thought about taking it out of the extra deck, but I've kept it in because there've been quite a few games where I end up going for Xingying just to finish the opponent off. Here, obviously, I didn't need it, but there have been games where I have needed it to go for lethal. So when I first put it in the extra deck, I was like, this might be a bit of an extra spot I might end up dropping in. But no, it's been pretty good so far. I'm fairly satisfied with it in the deck there. So, all right, let's go take a look at the next game. Okay, so this one's going to be against Fluwanderies. Always nice, again, to get games in against meta decks, especially the one that everyone dreads kind of playing against there. Going to be taking the first turn yet again here. And very, very solid opening hand. You could scarcely ask for a better opening hand than this one. Guardian into Researcher into Seeker. The Guardian will keep our plays safe. It'll keep them from Nibiruing us or Ash Blossom or Valor. Well, an Ash Blossom, you know, gets one of these Excavates. I would let that resolve. That's totally fine. I'm mainly seeing this Koa'ki or Guardian for like a Nibiru. Same with like a Valor against one of the Excavates, also fine. Mainly saving it for a Nibiru. That's always, well, and Maxx as well. Maxx and Nibiru are definitely the scariest things, and Maxx, because it can often lead into Nibiru, are the scariest things that this deck will face. Just because it's one of those decks that can't do, it has to do a whole lot of stunning to do even like bare minimum plays. So very much gets hurt the most by those kind of disruptions there. Oh, so this game I actually managed to put out a ridiculous number of negates on the board by the end of it. So yeah, here I'll go for Herald of the Arclight, just to make sure that I have some space on board before going into this Gallant Granite for Block Dragon. It's obviously also nice to have the Omni Negate option available. I also wanted to, overlay with this Koa'ki Mirror Guardian in order to make sure that I was able to, search out the Block Dragon, but I wanted to make sure I had Negate on board in case of, again, Nibiru. So that's why I wanted to go for Herald of the Arclight there before I linked away, or exceased with the Koa'ki Mirror Guardian there. Now I can just search, well, since I've already used Seeker and Researcher's special summon effects, I'm not going to be searching for them off this Block Dragon. I'll just get the Gigantes and then a Supplier for the extenders there, because I haven't used either of those yet. Alright, from here I'm going to activate the, why can't I think of this card's name for all of a sudden? Raptite, there we go. And we do actually manage to hit an Analyzer off of it, which is exactly what I wanted to hit. It's the best possible card I could have hit there. That'll allow us to get a Doki Doki. I think I'm going to get Doki Doki anyway, because yeah, I haven't used the effect yet. So from there I'll sync into Baronne de Fleur. I can use Doki Doki to get yet another Analyzer out of the deck, and then I can do some more synchroing there. Namely, I can go for the Boarload Savage Dragon here. So yeah, this end board is actually going to be pretty disgusting. I'm going to end with a 3-material Appaloosa. So there's 3 monster negates. I have an Omni Negate in the form of Herald of the Arclight, an Omni Negate in the form of Baron, I have an Omni Negate in the form of Boarload, and I even also am able to go for IP plus Block Dragon for the option to go into Nightmare Unicorn on the opponent's turn there. So this is like just about one of the more disgusting boards you can end with turn 1 with Adamancipator. I think the only way it could have been more gross is if we had ended with a Buster Lock, which we're not playing in this build again, just because, again, I decided not to include it just because it's really easy to mill the Buster off of a grass there. But at the same time, it's like, maybe it's fine, I don't know. So yeah, my opponent's going to try to do stuff here. Well, actually, I say they're going to try to do stuff, but they did actually manage to successfully wipe this board with a Lightning Storm, followed up with a Forbidden Droplet there. So, that at the same time that it's only going to leave them with 1 card in hand against my defense mode Block Dragon. So there's also that. I should have actually used, well, I Droplet, that's why I didn't use IP Masquerade in response to. In any case, though, yeah, they still leave me with a Block Dragon, which I can just normal list Tackle Crusader, link them away for, what even? Oh, an Asa, the Earth Charmer, right? Yeah. Link those away for an Asa, but more importantly, get the Block Dragon's effect. That will let me search up my Researcher, my Seeker, and a Supplier, I believe. Yeah, a Supplier here. And even though I don't have a Rock Monster on board, I obviously have more than enough materials in Graveyard to banish for a Block Dragon. That'll let me special the Researcher and the Seeker, and I can start excavating, and the opponent should really just concede at this point. There's kind of like no way I don't have lethal here. Well, I guess to be fair, I could time out. Like, in the opponent's eyes, I don't think I was actually in danger of timing out during this game here. Adamancipator's like 60-card Dragon Link, like, between obviously having played this deck in the past. Oh, this is another game where we shored up with a Chen game here. Obviously having played this deck in the past and also recently in the Anti-Spell Festival, it was very much like riding a bike, very much got used to it very quickly again. So, not as time-consuming as something like Dragon Link is, where I'm less familiar, and I don't know, I want to say the combos are more freeform, but I feel like the combos are very freeform with Adamancipator too, so maybe that's not much of an argument. In any case, I've got one more game to show off. Let's jump straight into it. Alright, this last game for this video is going to be against Salamangrates. It's a nice little selection of duels or decks that we faced up against here. I tried to include a variety when I showcase decks, especially for a deck profile like this. Alright, so we're going second here, but we opened Ash and Gamma, so that's pretty nice. Opponent's going to, for some reason, set and then activate Signet Mining. Love to see cards like this when I have an Ash in hand, searches that require a discard, because that means they get to 2-for-1 the opponent, where now I'm 1 card up on them. I've got 4 cards, they've only got 3, and they actually don't have plays after that, so that's pretty awesome. What's not awesome is that we don't have a whole lot of plays here, but we at the very least do have Koa'ki Mirror Guardian, which my opponent Veilered immediately in response. Or my opponent just fired off an effect Veiler immediately as soon as I summoned it. So I'm thinking maybe they have a Maxx in hand potentially. I can't think of any other reason why you would Veiler, unless it was just a misplay, why you would Veiler a Guardian as soon as it's summoned. I think even if you were trying to play around the Guardian effect for like a Maxx, that was probably still a misplay, because I think I get what my opponent was trying to do there, right? They wanted to Veiler in response to my Guardian summon, so that way when I activated the Researcher effect, they could fire off. But even then, they could they could have waited. Like, you know, I normal Guardian, whatever, that's fine. I go to special the Hypothetical Researcher in my hand. They chain with Maxx. I chain with, oh no, this is tributing for a cost, isn't it? It is tribute for a cost, so that would explain why they Veilered first. I still don't think that's right, honestly, because even if I have Researcher, it's pretty obvious to me that they have Maxx, and it's really easy for me to just, like, not summon the Researcher in response here. Indeed, I don't really have a Researcher to summon anyway, but I just want to talk about that Veiler a little bit, because it's not a bad Veiler. I don't think it's a bad Veiler, but I don't think it's a great one either, to be totally honest. It's like, meh. You could make arguments for or against it, honestly. Anyway, I'm going to summon the Xenoguitar. I'm just going to move into battle phase after that. Like, yeah, I could go for a Gallant Granite and search out the Block Dragon, but one, again, I'm pretty sure my opponent's got a Maxx. But also, two, I can't even summon the Block Dragon even if I did go to the Gallant Granite, because that would leave me with one Earth Monster in grave and one in hand. The other Earth Monster would still be stuck under the Gallant Granite, so it would still be until the next turn when I could do that anyway. And I wanted to leave the Guardian up for monster negation, for just disruption in general anyway, so. I'm definitely fine taking it slow, and the opponent just concedes. I don't have anything else in response, so I was definitely fine taking it slower with that game, mostly just due to the circumstance. And I wanted to show an Adamancipator game where you don't just like combo off, where you do take it a bit more slow, because it does happen occasionally. But even when you are forced to take it slow, if you've got the Koa'ki Mirror Guardians, the card's actually nuts. Like, Koa'ki Mirror Guardian is still a very good card, even in today's format. Being able to negate and destroy a monster effect activated anywhere is fairly powerful, and by itself can make a strong enough control tool. So that did prove to be the case with that game there. Plus, again, the fact that we ashed the first Cyanet mining, they didn't have follow-up plays for a long time after that, and we had another ash in hand. I was just, for multiple reasons, I was fine just letting the game drag out, because it didn't seem like my opponent that had that great of a hand there. So, alright, that's going to go ahead and do it for the gameplay. Let's go to the outro now. Okay, everyone, thank you for watching all the way to the very end of the video like this. I greatly appreciate that. Also greatly appreciate those of you who are commenting and or subscribing. That also definitely does mean a whole lot to me. Yeah, definitely let me know if you got any suggestions for the build here. I did talk about in the profile a few changes I was potentially thinking about making, namely adding Almirage to the extra deck there. I think would allow for some extension in some specific scenarios. I also totally forgot until I actually went through the list here that I'm still playing 2 Tackle Crusader. I think this is alright, but I don't know, it's good against Floodgates is a thing. Like, hitting this off of grass and then bouncing a Floodgate is really good. Yeah, I talked myself in. It's funny, I was about to talk myself out of a second copy, but then I just talked myself right back into it, so. That's why I like getting feedback from you all, though, because I do that a lot, where I'll think about a change and then not make it, and I'm like, should I, shouldn't I? And I think getting a more, just getting a third-party opinion, I should say, is always very nice. So definitely do leave those suggestions for the deck build, gameplay, videos, anything for the channel in general in the comments. And then, yeah, subscribing, again, means a lot to me personally, is also a great way of supporting the channel, and will get you notifications of when these videos drop, which does happen every day. So you've got a daily Master Duel video to look forward to when you subscribe. But that's going to go ahead and do it for today. So without further ado, this is XX signing out, and I hope you have a fantastic day.